Yo, yo.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Good, I'm good. Hold on, I'm about to get it started right now. Hit this.
Dog, your boy ain't
Awesome, awesome. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another round, another episode of Assets Over Money podcast, episode number 7. Here with my boy Kevin. That man is out of state, Mr. Worldwide. Every time he's on, he's in a different place, man. Kevin, what's going on?
Man, I can't complain, man. Over here hanging out in San Diego today, man. So it's 4 o'clock over here, man. You know, hey, threw me off, bro.
What you doing in San Diego?
Man, Ken Clothier's boardroom group, man. You know what I'm saying? Coming to connect with quality people, bro. All real estate investors and across the country. And everybody does different things, man. But everybody's trying to help you scale up, man, and increase. So
Yeah,
you know,
well, I
I'm
definitely
always
got
down for getting around quality people.
love that, man. I definitely got a question. So you in San Diego? Why you got a hoodie on? Oh man, boy, hitting the dead zone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I got you. Just so you in San Diego? Why you got a hoodie on?
Hey, bro, because it's still chilly out here, though. You know what I mean? In certain areas, and it's about 4 o'clock now, but it's crazy how the weather is here. The wind's kind of.
What's
I mean,
chilly
it's not chilly. I mean, but I came from Charlotte this morning, so like, dog, it was like 30 degrees in Charlotte, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's bright skies, but man, it's it still kind of have a little chill to it. So I mean, I love the weather right now since it's been pretty nice.
Nah, I got you, man. Can you hear me okay?
The link in your bio is for the YouTube.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Okay, that's fine.
And dude, I'm gonna need a ride back to the hotel too.
Okay.
Oop. Let's see here. Sorry about that. Had a little glitch right here.
You good?
But yeah, no, long story short, man, jumping into the episode, really, I guess the intent of today's episode, man, is, I don't know, I've been really digging into, well, I know we both are men of faith, man, but like more recently, I've been really digging into just my faith walk and something I'm taking, I'll say, just so much more and more and more serious over the last few years. Like my walk with God and like my relationship with God it's just gotten so much better. And I just feel like as things, as you start to develop that relationship more with God, I've started to notice things in my life that are happening that like they're not by chance. And it's not because of my doing, but I believe it's because I've been faithful in my works and been faithful in what I'm doing, faithful in my word, faithful to God. And I feel like things have been happening that I'm not ordaining, right? And I feel like it just aligns with his plan. Like I feel like I know what my plan is. I feel like the path that I'm supposed to be on, but just because I think doesn't necessarily mean that I'm on, the path that God has me on, or I'm on the direction that He's supposed to, put me on. You get what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I mean, we get caught up in our own feelings and trying to do it our way. So I get where you're going with that. You know what I mean? Because I mean, dog, that's why I'm in church every Sunday. To be honest, I mean, I ain't gonna get there this Sunday because I'm in Cali, but I gotta have that word, bro. You know what I'm saying? Kind of, we get caught up in our feelings and our five senses, right? What we can see, smell, touch, hear, and taste. And if it ain't where we want to be, we get kind of off track. You know what I mean? So it's like being, the woman at the well. If you ever heard that story, you know what I'm saying? She was a prostitute, but God came to her and was like, basically like, hey, if you look at the 5 men you've been dealing with, they ain't been your husbands, right? But see, if you look at it in a different light, the 5 men she was dealing with was really her senses that she had to let go.
Mm-hmm.
God, you know what I'm saying? So like we get caught up in that. We get caught up in, what we can see, taste, hear, and touch and smell, you know what I mean? Instead of just putting our faith into God. So, I get that, bro. Just gotta stay on point with it, stay on track, and know that God got us.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And like, I don't know, like one of the scriptures that kind of jumps out at me when I just think about that is what Jeremiah 29:11. And I wrote it down so that way, I quoted it correctly. New Living Translation, right? For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. And that is one of the scriptures I would say that I've always stuck with me, because regardless of what I'm going on, like, again, everything that you have in life, everything that happens, it's either a lesson or it's a blessing. And a lot of those lessons end up being blessings, later in life. So regardless of what's going on, it's important that we stay true not only to ourselves, but stay true to God, because like I'm going to get into it. So I got a couple topics here, but man, it's just like, again, you could have everything that you think that you're supposed to be doing. You could have all these goals, these different things you're supposed to be doing, different paths you think you're supposed to be on. And like, you can go all off the path, right? God has a plan for you. God has you going down one path. You can go off the path, try to do all these different things on your own, and literally will go nowhere. But as soon as you get on God's path, you get on the path that you're supposed to be on, all these crazy things start happening, right? You start having tremendous amounts of success. Opportunities start opening up. Doors start opening up once that didn't open before. It's just kind of crazy to me. You know what I mean?
Dog, because we get born into our senses, right? And that's all we know. And we kind of rely on that more than we do on that word and what God tells us to do, right? And see, that's kind of how we get off track, because, we're worrying about what we think and how we feel. Really, you already know that He's going to take care of it, you know what I mean? Because everything does for our good. So, like, if you trust in Him and you walking the way you're supposed to walk, it really ain't no need to worry, you know what I mean? And so I come from a family of warriors, and people that get stressed out and upset and cussing each other out or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I got to a place in my life where I got tired of being upset, tired of being angry, tired of putting my emotions out there like that. So I just, once that word got to me, I don't worry about too much now. I just let it happen. Abdul, we good going back though, right?
Did you add the other song?
Yeah, I'll add it. Give me 1 second.
Oh, you didn't add it.
Can you add it or?
No, you added.
Okay.
You cannot do anything like steward.
All right,
I'm
cool.
gonna mute you for a second. Let's see.
All right, cool.
Yeah, but awesome. But yeah, jumping into it. So I got 5 different subtopics that I wanted to really talk about, right? And number 1 is God's plan is unique for everyone. And that is something that I'm not really thought of, because again, we all have these different things that we want to do. And a lot of times in life will try to dictate the paths that we go on or the professions that we go in, right? So I think about it like when we're kids. When we're kids, we all have these ideas that on the things we want to be. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be, a professional football player. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a veterinarian. All the different things that we want to be based upon our likes, right? And a lot of those likes that we have, again, God has been instilled into us, right? We didn't just start liking these things just because we, thought it was cool, or we think that we may, but I think that a lot of times it's a higher power that instilled those to us. But somewhere along the line, we lose track of the things that we're passionate about, and we start to, I want to say unintentionally, we start to focus on the things that society tells us that we need to focus on. Society will tell us to get realistic about our goals, or don't dream, don't think that you can do this, or don't dream so big because you're not going to be able to do this because you may fail, or whatever that may be, right? But I guess really the key point of all this is, right, is God designed each person with a specific purpose and a plan. No one else can fulfill your calling, because it's literally yours, as you are calling. And I guess really one of the stories that kind of makes me think about that is really like the story of Moses, right? And if you don't know who Moses is, this ain't a topic on Moses. I'm not going to dive into the whole story of Moses. I'll go ahead and say open up the the good book and learn all about Moses. But just thinking about the story of Moses and how he led the Israelites, led the Israelites from Egypt, right? And their exodus from Egypt. So if y'all know Moses, everybody knows when they think about Moses, they think about him with a staff, parting the Red Sea, but they don't know, who Moses is as a person. Moses didn't want to, didn't have any type of confidence in himself, right? He had stutters, that wasn't confident, did not speak well. When God called him to go speak to Pharaoh, he was he kind of questioned God. He literally questioned God. He said, "Hey, why should I do this? I don't have XYZ. I can't speak well. I'm not confident. I don't have this. I don't have that. Why should I be the one speaking to him? Why can't it be somebody else? Why can't it be my brother? Why can't it be somebody else who is way better at this than me?" But when you try to do those things, you have to understand that God has a plan for you. You know, there's a lot of things that you see, you don't see that He sees, that you are destined for, that you have a calling. There's abilities within you that you do not, I guess, that you don't even really know about, that you don't necessarily see, that God has to necessarily bring out of you. And a lot of times it's our fears that are what is holding us back, right? So Moses doubted his ability to lead, but God uniquely called him to free the Israelites from Egypt. And y'all know who all that story. We all seen the Prince of Egypt. We were actually watching that a couple weeks ago, the wife and I. But yeah, and I guess number 2 here, because I think Kevin's still a little gone there. But number 2 is trusting in God's timing. And this is one that I really put there just because this is something that really hit close to home to me, because whenever I want something, a lot of times I can get really impatient. Man, I want it right now. I want it as soon as possible. I don't want to wait for it. If I want something to happen, I want to go do it. And a lot of times I've been guilty of burning myself out, right? If I see something that I'm really passionate about, I'm going to keep doing it until it happens. And then I get a little impatient. I get frustrated. Like, why isn't this happening? We've all kind of been there, right? Why isn't this happening? Why is this happening to me? How come I'm not seeing success in this, right? When a lot of times you may be on the right path, but you have to trust God, right? And it makes me think a lot of times about how we may not be seeing success because, one, we may not be in the correct area, but we could be idolizing something. We're putting something before God, if that makes sense, right? We're idolizing something, somebody, some business, something. And it made me think about that, like, more recently, the last like year or two, I have been pushing really, really hard in the things that I'm passionate about within real estate. And there have been times to where, like, as soon as I get out of the bed, the first thing I do is I check my phone to see if I have any messages, or I'm checking my missed calls, or I'm checking my voicemails, or I'm checking my emails. And this is before I thank God. This is before I roll over, kiss my wife, say good morning. This is before, like, I do anything. And as I'm reading the word, I pull up, I'm going through these different scriptures, and I'm like, all right, like, what does this mean? I'm looking it up, and it's like, okay, like, idolatry. What is idolatry? Is you putting anything that you put anything you have above God, right? Anything that you are passionate about, or anything, or I mean, really anything that you put above God is idolatry. And I was like, yo, I am guilty of that. I am 100% guilty of that. So there's some things that I need to work on, right? So what I did was I just refined my schedule. Like, maybe put your phone on a different, not necessarily a nightstand next to you, right? I put the phone on the floor, a little ways from the bed. So when I do get up in the morning, the alarm goes off. Yes, I have to get up to go turn it off, but that's like my reminder in my head to say, hey, thank God that you woke up this morning, because there's a lot of people who did not wake up, and you're one of the people who did wake up, right? So I don't know, but as I started doing that, changing my schedule around and just focusing on God and making sure God was the number one priority in my life, because if not, I am putting my real estate above God, which is something that I don't want to do. I want to have, God within my business. But yeah, so I guess really key point from that is, God's plan often unfolds differently than we expect, but His timing is always perfect. And a scripture that I have for that is Ecclesiastes 3, chapter 3, verse 1. For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven. So again, oh, Kevin, you back? Let's see.
I'm back, baby.
But yeah.
Nah, man, but I've been listening to everything you said, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you're exactly right, man. Like, it's a season for everything. And if you can just weather that season, even in your bad seasons, you know what I'm saying? You learning something in that season. You know what I mean? Like, so many of us get caught up in just, being upset and angry, and we don't understand, the lesson that we have to learn in that, right? We go through things for a reason. And it's like, the scripture that you just said, man, kind of sums it up. I mean, because there's season, and God may not come when you want him to, but like, He's always on time. And as long as it's God, you got those desires in your heart. I mean, He wants you to have those, right? But your road might not be the same as His road to get you there, and you have to be okay with that. So, like, for me, I mean, like, it was hard for me for a while, because I used to think that I could do it all on my own. We always talk about hero ball and James Harden style. You know what I'm saying? and that's the furthest thing that you can do to make God happy. You can't do it by yourself. You got to let go. It's almost like driving a car, right? And you driving, God in the back, or he might not even be in the back. You might be passing him on the side of the road or something. He need to be driving though. You feel me? So, like, you got to let him drive, let him go with it, and let him move the way you need to move. And so like I had to kind of grow into that. You know what I mean? To allow God to do that and stop trying to do it my way, because your way most of the time is not going to work out right, and you're gonna be upset.
Yeah. And one of the stories I wrote down here is the story of like Abraham and Sarah. And this is a story from Genesis, right? And it basically Abraham and Sarah, they wanted a son, and they tried and tried and tried and just never had a son. They prayed for it, and God promised them that he would deliver a son. And at some point in their life, and at this point, they ended up having a kid, right? But they were, I want to say Abraham was like 75 years old. And I don't know
what
many
did he do,
75.
but what did he do though? They went and got what was it? Hagar.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? To have that baby. Knowing that boy, shouldn't have did that. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't gonna be it because y'all did it y'all way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So man, you right on point with that, cuz.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he was 75 years old, man, and ended up having Isaac, right? And and this is why it's so important, right? Because again, God's timing is right on time. Like, say they tried and tried and tried and tried to do it their own way, like they did, right, and failed. They ended up giving birth to Isaac. God allowed them to have Isaac. Isaac had Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons who ended up, leading the 12 tribes of Israel. So again, like there's so much a bigger plan or bigger works at play that we just don't see because we don't necessarily understand. But if we trust in God, trust in his timing, trust the fact that he has a plan for us, when these things start to happen, not only will we start to see it through, but we'll start to understand it. We may not necessarily get to see it all the way through to the next life and all that kind of stuff, but we start to understand as things start happening, man. And that's like one of the prayers that I have in the morning, man, is I ask that God gives me like eyes to see life the way that he wants me to see it, not see life the way that I want to see it. Because the way I want to see life is I want to see me, doing XYZ. I want to see me doing all these different things, right? I have the eyes of man. I don't have the eyes of God. So one of the things that I pray every day is I pray that God gives me eyes to see life the way he wants me to, right? See the best in people. Allow me to be a blessing to other folks. And I try to live that. I ain't perfect by any means because, sometimes I get mad, all that kind of stuff. But I try for sure, man. You know what I mean?
Man, none of us are perfect, bro. So, you know what I'm saying? I want to commend you, first of all, just for doing the things you do, man. I want to tell you, too, bro, your morning videos be on point, cuz. You know what I'm saying? just know that, bro. Like, every morning, man, when you know what I'm saying? Because I'm usually up about 6:30. And, man, when I see you out there doing your thing, bro, that's, keep doing that, man. I think that's powerful, bro.
Oh, yeah. And, bro, I say it all the time, man. Like, most of the time, those videos, they're more so for me than they are for everybody. I know it's helpful to everybody, but a lot of times I'm talking to myself, man, because it's like a reminder. I'll say I'm listening to a podcast, I hear a really good quote, or I'm reading, a devotion and I hear a really good quote. I'm like, man, like not only does the world need to hear this, but this is something I need to hear myself, right? So I put it out there, man. And a lot of times I'm talking to myself. I ain't talking to talking at people, man. I'm talking to myself because a lot of times I'm guilty of the same thing, and it serves as a reminder. But yeah, man, I appreciate that, brother, man.
Man, that thing be hitting. I mean, even though I know you say you're doing it for yourself, bro, but hey, your boy be feeling it. That's why I be responding the way I do. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the love, man.
Yeah, dog. So I guess people out there now, right? The people that's seeing these videos, seeing this podcast right here, what do you think how does this relate to your real estate journey?
I think it's kind of twofold, man, because a lot of times, like, I think there's more there's enough. I'd say like this, man, there's a lot of people out there that are doing real estate specific videos, education videos. And I think with that, right, like I'll 100% get to that point, but I kind of like looking at stuff from like a holistic approach, man. Like, again, if I consider myself, if my three, if my values revolve around faith, family, finance, or faith, family, and impact, or like my three biggest values. If I say my values revolve around those, then I need to speak about those as well too. I can't just talk all about real estate and all the, the cool things we're doing, or, the successes, the failures. I can talk about those things, right? But if I'm not good at the home front and I'm not showing people like the holistic, like my whole life, what I'm doing, the areas I suck at, the areas I'm growing at, like my struggles, talking about my family, placing your family first, talking about placing God first, talking about taking care of your house, then I feel like I'm not being very authentic, because it's easy to be super flashy. It's 100% easy to be super flashy. Right? Like I could go in there, go rent a nice Corvette, go rent a Ferrari or something like that, pull up in front of a house I bought and talk about all the money we're making. But that is so materialistic, and there's no value in that. And that's not relatable to, the average person. I want to relate to the average person because I'm just a regular dude, man, who found things that I think are extremely helpful, extremely beneficial, and I want to pay it forward and, again, impact as many people as I can,
Yeah, nah, man. Hey, that's exactly the way to be, man. Be authentic, be who you are. I mean, because you're going to connect with more people that way than you would be just doing that fakeness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I living the way I've lived, I understand now that I can't be around those type people. I have to be around authentic people who know who they are and know what they want in life. You know what I mean? Because I have a very low patience for, the victim mentality, or, folks that aren't looking to be genuinely themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So keep doing it, bro. I mean, you're doing an amazing job, guys.
Hey, man, I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that, man. But yeah, I guess really jumping back into it, man. Number 3, being faithful with what God gives you, right? And I guess really the key point of this topic is God entrusts us with resources, talents, and opportunities, and what we do with them, it truly, truly matters, right? And it made me think of the story, and you probably heard of it, the parable of talents. You know that story?
The what?
The parable of talents. If not, I can just tell you the story. I know the story.
Oh yeah, yes sir, yes
Mhm.
sir, of course.
Yeah. So that's like one of my that's one of my favorite like Bible stories, or really stories in life, man, because it's so relatable and it just makes so much sense, right? So the story of the parable of talents goes like this. There was a guy, he had 3 servants. And you can find this in Matthew 25, chapter 25, verses 14 through 30 is what I have written down right here. So you can find that in the Bible, Matthew 25, 14 through 30. But the parable of talents, it goes like this. There was a man, he had a couple servants. The man had some money, was making a lot of money, and he gave money to each of his servants. And he says, hey, here's some money, guys. When I come back, I want my money back. I want the money back. But I'm giving you this money. I'm investing in you guys, and I want you to do something with it. He comes back, goes to the first servant. The first servant says, a couple years later, comes back and says, hey, first servant says, hey, I had this money and I was able to, say 10x your return on your money. Here it is. And they said, wow, thank you. Here's your reward. Gave him, ended up blessing him with more money and say, hey, go invest this much money, right? The next servant said, hey, here's your money. I was able to 5x your return. And he said, wow, thank you, my good and faithful servant. Here's some more money, right? And then the third one gave him the same exact money that he gave him and said, hey, I was too fearful to invest it. I didn't want to lose it. So here's the same money that I gave you. So if you think about it, we all know about inflation. He ended up losing money, losing that man's money, because the money you have now is not worth the same amount of money you make in 2 years from now, right? So that story is important. And what he ended up doing to him, he took away from him. So really important, and the whole point of the story is, what you do with a little, you do with a lot. So if God entrusts you with a little, and that could be anything, and you've kind of fumble it and you mess it up, then you're not ready for big blessings. And you can relate that to not only your faith, but you can relate that to business as well. So let's just say like real estate. If let's say I have 3 people who want to sell their houses, and I only talk to one, or I don't talk to any of them at all, or I'm not making my phone calls, how in the world can I expect to lead a team of, a sales team of 100 people, buying 4 to 5 houses a day, or that kind of thing, right? What you do with a little, you do with a lot. So if you're not disciplined with the little that you have, you're not going to be disciplined with the great things that God has in store for you, or you may never receive them.
Man, that's it, man. I mean, because, what God plants in you, he wants you to use, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that story is major, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us, they'll take that one talent and bury it. You know what I mean? You bury it, ain't that you can be able to get from it. You know what I'm saying? And there's no way you're gonna multiply it, because some folks are so caught up in the risk and the fear of losing it. They
Yeah.
end up losing more than that. You know what I mean? We always talk about how discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. People get caught up in that fear, man, and end up regretting. And it's like, I just can't go down that road, man.
Yeah.
I just
100%.
can't. Using those talents, man, no matter how many you got, no matter what, you just got to keep pushing. Just
100%. Yeah. But yeah, bro. So I got moving on to number 4, man. You kind of hit the nail right on the head. Is overcome fear and doubt in God's plan. The whole purpose of this just stems around like fear. And I know we spoke on it a few weeks ago, but fear can block us from stepping into God's plan. But having faith helps us take action even when we don't have all the answers. We don't know everything. And that's the whole purpose of faith, right? Having faith, again, you having faith that things are going to happen. Faith is just on a basic level, right? Just take a chair. Every time you sit in the chair, you have faith that it's going to support you. And you don't even necessarily know. That chair could break an instant, but you have faith that is going to support you. So you have to have faith, whenever you're taking action, and you have to understand that God has a plan for you. When you're stepping into that plan and when you're called to your plan, you shouldn't be fearful when you're stepping into it, because you have to understand that God's got your back.
Man, all day long, man. I mean, it's funny how folks that go to church, right, on Sunday, and then revert right back on Monday. As soon as you get to work, you know what I mean? It's like they forget everything that they shouted and prayed about on Sunday. And it's like, hey, you got to be consistent enough to, hey, take it on Monday, take it on Tuesday, take it on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. You know what I'm saying? Like, this has got to be an everyday. It can't be just a one-day thing, or, on Easter I'll go to church, or, on Christmas or something like that. I mean, this has got to be consistent enough where you're driving it into your mind, like, hey, this is what it is. It ain't no other way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, because, trust me, man, I used to have the worst attitude. I'm talking about towards everything. And it's like, getting to that word, going to church, being around good people, you know what I'm saying? You start to realize, like, man, all I got to do is just keep walking. I don't have to get all irate, get all crazy when things don't go my way, because I know God got me, right? And if you know God got you, and you're praying, I mean, what's the point of praying if you're going to worry?
Yeah. Man, 100%. And one thing about, I like what you said there, man, because what my pastor used to say, it used to be like, a lot of times, like, people take church like a gas station. You come in on Sunday, you fill up, you have all that motivation, and then you go right back. You back on E by Wednesday, and that's why people come to church on Wednesday, to fill back up, and then they back on E on Saturday, and that's why they come back to church on Sunday. Because a lot of times we go to church, we feel the word, it fills us up, we're excited, and then we go back to doing what we're doing, man. Or a lot of times, man, it's like the night before church, you at the club, you having a good time, you drinking, singing this, F that, spend this, do that. And then you on church on Sunday, praising the Lord, and then going right back to it, not making any change. Again, you can't walk in the life that God wants you to. You can't follow the path that He has for you. You can't follow the plan that He has for you if you are not faithful to His word, if you're not faithful to the path that He has on you. If you are not ready for the blessings that He has for you, He's not going to just give them to you. And I think that's just why it's so important to be disciplined. And whatever that anything that you do, is important to be disciplined. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's posting a video every day. I don't care if it's, reading a scripture out of the Bible every day. I don't care if it's sending a text every day. I don't care what it is. You have to be disciplined with the little things that you have in order to prepare you for the gifts that God has in store for you.
Hey, discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons, man.
Yeah.
Let that sink in, man. Like, discipline is ounces versus tons, yo. That's major, man. You got to stay disciplined, regardless of whatever you're doing. You got to stay disciplined with it, and know things gonna work out in your way, no matter what circumstance you in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, no, 100%, man. And scripture I got for this is Joshua 1:9. This is my command: be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And again, And I got another scripture to to second that one, man. It's my favorite scripture I got tattooed on my chest. 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of love and of power and of a sound mind. So there's no need to be fearful of anything,
Yes, sir. I mean, it's no need. I mean, but that's all we think about most of the time is being fearful. You know what I mean? So many folks get caught up in being scared and being fearful of, I mean, even going outside. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everything is a risk to a certain extent, but like, you got to know that, you know, if it's your time, it's your time, right? If God got a mission for you, then you got to go.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, you shouldn't live your life in fear, man. You got to let that go and let God do what he got to do with you. And whether that's changing your attitude or if that's making you a better person or, you know what I'm saying, giving you the strength to go out here and start a business, go out here and buy some real estate, whatever it is, you got to just know that, hey, he got it covered. And all you got to do is start walking.
100%, man. 100%. I think to round it up, man, number five, God can use your strengths for his plan. And I think that is I just think that, again, and say the best for last. But really the purpose of this, man, is a lot of times we have our strengths. We have so many different strengths. We may not even haven't even discovered them. But as opposed to focusing on the strength or working on the strength or trying to find where our strengths are, we focus so much on our weaknesses because, again, that's what shows maybe. But a lot of people like to poke holes in it, right? Like, again, there's that quote that's saying, I could go walk on water, and y'all would say it's because I don't know how to swim. You know what I mean? So you could be doing something completely right, and people are always going to try to poke holes in it. But again, the key point of this is right. Even hardships and failures can be a part of God's greater plan for your life. So the things that you're going through, struggles, pain, a lot of times it is preparing you for something so much greater, right? And we all have our own, you know, testimony. And one of my testimonies, man, long story short, and it's really like my wife. Like, long story short, my wife got extremely sick for about 2 years. Lost a lot of weight. A lot of crazy things happened, but like we made it through, right? God's not going to put us through any battles that we can't handle ourselves. And I'm thinking through it, man, especially like now, like today was really heavy on my heart, heavy on my mind. It's because, like, okay, if this wouldn't have happened, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but if this wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't have been able to move here. If we wouldn't have been able to move here, I wouldn't have been able to do X, Y, Z. There are so many different things that, like, while I'm thinking maybe like 1 or 2 steps ahead, God sees my whole life and he sees, okay, I'm going to have to put them through this. This is going to build their faith. This is going to bring them closer. This is going to allow them to, you know, get closer and really lean on me instead of their own understanding. And after I get them through this, there's a blessing on the other side that weighs tons and tons of tons that they don't see yet. And I'm starting to kind of see it, man. Like, and it's just, it's crazy. Like, I get chills when I start to think about all the things that have happened in my life, even to the smallest detail, that if the things that I think sucked or the things I thought were extremely painful, if they would not have happened, I literally would not be here. I would not be the person that I am. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be in this position. We wouldn't be on this podcast. Probably wouldn't have met you. And it's just so crazy. So crazy, man.
I mean, but that's why you got to be thankful for the experiences you go through, right? If they're negative, right? Because even if they're negative and you may not like it, you got to understand that there's a lesson in it. Yeah. And it's going to help you be better, right? And like we talked about last time, if you can't take that risk, you can't grow. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't grow, you can't be the best version of yourself. So you should be in a constant state of learning who you are, going through things that, you know, you might not be able to control on your own, but learning what was the lesson behind it, right? What was it that God needed me to know that was going to help me be a better person? And so, like, I mean, I live by that now, right? So no matter what I go through, I mean, I'm going through challenges now, right? But if you know me, you're not going to know that. You're not going to know I'm going through these challenges because I know who I got behind me. And I know who got, you know, driving the car. You feel me? So, like, ain't no need for me to get upset or get bothered or get down and out about it because I know it's working itself out. God has already got it. He's already, you know, he's the starter and the finisher. So what I got to worry about? I just got to go out here and walk and do the things that I know I need to do.
Amen, man. And it's just crazy. Like, again, just relating it back to real estate, bro, there was a time, especially in the early years, man, where I would wake up and I would wake up and I would just do real estate start to finish. I wake up, you know, get ready, brush my teeth, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm all right, on the computer, on the phone from literally 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. when people can start. I think most people are awake, all the way to 8 p.m., 12-hour reps, bro, straight. Maybe break for like a lunch, get a sandwich, all that kind of stuff, but just rip it. And like, yes, there'd be some success in that, but like once like, I don't know, man. I started felt like I was missing something, man. I started feeling like I was easily angered, frustrated. There was things working in me that weren't necessarily good. And I believe it was because I had a gap. I was missing something. I was missing, the Lord. I was missing the word. I was not spending time with the Lord like I should be, right? And once I made that switch, man, like craziness just started happening, man. Like there would literally be like times where I'm going all day and I don't have any leads, no leads whatsoever. And I'm calling like hot lists. I'm calling foreclosures. I'm calling expired lists. I'm doing XYZ, texting people, contacting wholesalers. I'm not getting nothing. Once I stopped, right, and said, all right, let me focus on God. Let me actually plan out times to, spend time with the Lord. And I'm not just saying, hey, God, thank you for waking me up this morning, but spend time actually in the word, like reading my devotion, reading the scriptures, reflecting on it, taking notes, highlighting, all that kind of stuff. It is almost like unbelievable the success that I started having, or the good things that started happening, not just within real estate, but outside of within my life. I had a happiness about me. I started growing confidence. Good things just started happening. Opportunities just started falling in my lap. Like I go to Walmart and I'm talking to somebody, then randomly in line, and the guy owns multiple houses. Or like a couple months ago, bro, I was at a McDonald's with a notary closing doing some closing documents, and I come outside and there's a realtor out there. Like I'm on a motorcycle, man. I come out there, a realtor comes up to me, he's like, hey, it looks like you were doing a closing. Like, here's my card. I'd love to like chat with you. And I'm like, oh man, that's crazy. That's really wild. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And then no joke, right after that, the car right behind me, the lady, it was an older lady. She asked me to come over. Her house was in foreclosure and she just wanted some advice on things to do. And it's just like, bro, like I literally didn't do anything but go to McDonald's and sign some closing documents. And I got a realtor who could put me in contact with get me more business. And there's a lady who I could potentially either help her out of foreclosure, or I can buy her house. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Bro.
I mean, but that's just because you let go.
Yeah.
You let go and you let God control it, man. And see, that's, I always pray, man, like, God, close any doors is not of you, man, and push me in the direction you have me go into. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I live by that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you being able to let go and you're seeing the fruits of that now. I mean, like, that's the reason why you got to let go. You got to trust God enough to know that, look, man, he got it covered. All you got to do is do your walk. You just got to walk the path, yo.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, I can look back now and it'd be times where I was just like, how am I going to get out of this? And if you look at me now, you can't tell what I've been through. So it's like, just keep pushing forward and know that God got it, yo. Like, you ain't got to worry. You ain't got to like get so caught up out of your senses. And like, I go back to the woman at the well, you know what I'm saying? You think about the woman at the well and that story in the Bible. She had 5 husbands that wasn't hers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But those 5 husbands was no different than the 5 senses that we get caught up in every day as human beings. And God was wanting her to understand, like, look, you're going to have to let that go and trust in who got you. You know what I'm saying? The husband that you can't get, you know what I'm saying? Which was, you know what I'm saying? Where she needed to be. And so, like, I see that as, us as humans, we get so caught up in our emotions and what we see and what we hear and what we feel. And we get so bent out of shape where we forget about God. You know what I'm saying? So, like, being able to release those things and not get so caught up in, your own feelings and your own emotions, man, God will take that and run with it, bro.
Yeah. And it's, man, and it's preparing you for so much greater, right? Because if you're doing things the right way, you're keeping God first at the center of whatever you're doing. Yeah, like just he has so much in store for you. And it doesn't necessarily mean financially. Like one of the things I think of again is on an impact standpoint, the impact that you have no idea like what, your successes or the things that happen to you in life. When you're able to talk to people or invest in somebody or talk with somebody about the things that are happening, you have no idea on what level you are impacting them.
That's
and
it.
How that can completely change their lives. Just think about people who have literally, again, you're one conversation away from your life completely, completely changing, right? Like I could go, like again, just like that story about McDonald's. I could literally go to Walmart, tomorrow and meet somebody who has millions and millions of dollars in the bank and they want to lend me all their money to go buy more houses. It's possible. And once I have that, man, again, we talk about like, things that we want to do outside of real estate. Once we start our, nonprofit or partner with somebody with that nonprofit, right? The impact that we're going to have and all of that, again, is not only, to lift us up, but I want to be on a higher platform to lift God up and impact millions. I want to create more soldiers, bring more soldiers into God's kingdom, into God's army. There's a battle going on. We don't see it. People like to ignore it. People call it silly, but you can see it in the world everywhere, not just in America. It's here in America, but you can see it all over the world. Good versus evil. There's a lot of things going on.
It's in the world.
Yeah. So much stuff going on. And that's just, it's not like we're not talking about it, but we see it. And a lot of it's on social media. A lot, we're just distracted. We're just so used to it, almost brainwashed, pretty much immune to bad stuff, man. I'll tell you what, like my wife can attest to it, man. Like literally today, I listen to, I'm a hip hop fan, man. I love rap through and through. My whole life been big into hip hop. But like as I'm starting to, again, the last few years, and I'm getting closer and closer with God, my relationship's getting closer, I start to actually notice some of the things they're saying. And like not only, not all of it's good, but like on a spiritual level, man, people talk about like today talking about I'm hanging with the demons or I'm a demon or I'm getting activated, been
crazy.
Bro, it's crazy. Like, what do you mean? What's that got to do with rap? You know what I mean? Nothing. You know what I'm saying? But like it's a reason that we hear that, and all that again is getting inputted into our brains, and it's a reason that is there. And now we're at a society now where there's nothing wrong with it. That's like popular culture. It's all good. You know what I mean?
No, it's almost like we going back to Sodom and Gomorrah.
We almost there. We want to hell in a handbasket, man.
Anything goes. You know what I'm saying? You can do whatever you. It's like no repercussions behind it. Like, you know what I'm saying? People are okay with that. And it's like, man, it's all written in the Bible, bro. It's all there. Man,
history repeats itself.
That's it. Every day, every year, it repeats itself. So like, you got to understand what's going on, man. Like I told, we always talk about folks being on autopilot, you know what I'm saying? And not recognizing anything, not just with the money and real estate, but just with who they are and themselves, and not growing with, being a better person and being the best version of yourself. And they just get caught up in the daily, I guess, the hypnotic rhythm of doing whatever their life is, right?
Yeah.
And most of the time they hate it. They end up they hate the way they're living. And it's like, I don't want to be that type of person that lives like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give it to God, and I'm gonna chase whatever He put in my heart.
Yep.
Plain and simple. Whatever happens. But I know I'm gonna be better off going that route than being in a place where all I do is go to work, come home, get up, go to work. I might go on a vacation a week out of the year, but I don't want to live like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to give it to God. I want to know that, hey, I'm being the best version of myself, and I'm chasing my dreams. I don't want to live.
Yeah.
I want to be 80 and be like, why I didn't do that? Or, be in my sick bed and see all the ghosts of all my goals that I should have been going after. You know what I mean? So
yep.
I'm with you. That's probably why we so connected, bro, because we a lot alike. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And in more ways than one.
Yeah, bro. So, at the end of the day, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for what you do. And, you just got to keep doing it, man. And, things is going to fall into place, bro. It always does. God always makes sure his folks is taken care of.
Oh, yeah. And they are, man. And they already are falling in place. Like, again, just the things that happen when you just let go. Because when I find myself stressing, or like I find myself worried about something, and like, it's like, why am I like, I literally, bro, like, why am I even stressing? Like, if what God has for me is for me. If this is for me, then it is for me. If it's not, then it ain't. You know what I mean? Or if it's not right now, maybe it is in the future. So like, right. I don't even get mad about like lost, like deals that fall through. We all have deals that fall through, right? Or sellers that ghost us, or people that back out or do things like that. I look at it as, well, what are some things that I could have done? And I go back and I do like a little audit. I'm like, all right, I could have XYZ. I could have called him at this time. I could have sent this message. I could have mentioned XYZ. I could have did a better job doing this. But if I don't see anything, it's like, all right, God, this just wasn't for me. Maybe what I was able to do, maybe I'm not able to help them out of the situation that they're supposed to be helped out of, right? Or maybe somebody else will. Or maybe this is just not a deal for me. Or maybe there's something I just don't see. I buy this house and it's filled with mold or something like that, and the roof collapses in a year. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just not in the deck of cards for me, man. But all I have to say, man, I don't know. I'm happy, man. Like I just feel so blessed, overwhelmed blessed. And I'm so glad we got to talk about this today because I think this is so important. And just building on this in the coming weeks or even revisiting this in the coming months on a deeper.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
All right, you got me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I can hear you, but it seemed like your joint kind of lagging a little bit.
It's that internet, man. I need some hard line.
Hey, you need that fiber.
Yeah, I need that fiber optics. They ain't got that on the military base, man. We get the Wi-Fi. Yeah,
that Google Fiber, boy. Hey, it'll blow your mind, cuz.
Bro, we had it when we were in Kansas. We had a fiber line, bro. The fastest, and I'm talking about like snap your fingers and the dang, it's right there type stuff. But I don't know. But yeah, man, like I was saying before, I appreciate you letting me know it was getting cut off. But I think the world needs to hear our testimonies, man. Like the world, people would be better off hearing about your true story, all the things that you went through that sucked, and how it made you become the person that you are. People would love to hear about the stories about what sucked in my life, the areas that really challenged me, what I failed at, and how I found success. Because one, it makes you more relatable, but two, like your testimony, there may be somebody going through that same exact thing, or maybe even worse, man. And it just can impact so many people, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what it's about though, right? Being able to take care of your neighbor, pull the next man up and be able to bless the next person. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we get so caught up in being selfish and doing things for our own benefit. We get lost when it comes to bringing somebody else up or pulling somebody else or doing something for someone else to help them be better. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I pride myself in being able to give back to the community, being able to pull someone up, change the trajectory of their life and their legacy. You know what I'm saying? I'm fulfilled when I can do that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thankful for everything God has put me through and what he's doing for me now and what he's going to do. You know what I mean? So that's why I love you. No matter where I'm at, I'm going to be on this podcast because I got to continue to grow with you because I feel like I got to.
Yeah, even if you in freaking, I don't know, next time we're gonna see you gonna be in space with Elon Musk or something on a spaceship to Mars or something, bro.
I'll be on the podcast on the spaceship.
Yeah, he's on the podcast. You get the Starlink, you know what I mean, his Starlink, so you'll have good signal.
That's it. You already know, yo.
But yeah.
But this was good though. We need this, you know what I'm saying? Especially as brothers, as black folks, you know what I'm saying? We need this. We need to be able to connect and grow together because we get so caught up in trying to do things on our own and play that hero ball. And it ain't about that. It's about being able to connect with good folks, have that chemistry with. You can grow together and build together. You know what I'm saying? Not just real estate and money, but in God. You know what I mean? So, bro, I'm all in, bro. I'm with you.
I appreciate you, bro. But yeah, man, outside of that, thank you for those who tuned in. Hope this was beneficial. If you guys have topics we want us to talk about, things you want us to dive into more, or just questions, just hit us up. You know where to find us, Facebook, IG, wherever. But outside of that, hope you guys had a great day. Stay blessed, be blessed. No time to chill. Try and build. Peace out, y'all.
West Coast today.
There you go. Peace.
Later.